It's time to introduce you to the last of our theme gardens. Now, as a reminder, OSU horticulture students from the Stillwater campus helped us research, design, and plant theme gardens as a class project. Now, if you've been watching over the past few weeks, you've seen the start of a formal herb garden, an edible landscape, an everlasting garden, and today we're going to show you a couple of annual flower beds. Now first, Albert Tipton, landscape architecture student from Oklahoma City, will tell us about his group project, and then Laurie Brooks, a student from Edmond, will tell us about their annual garden.
Our theme garden was the annual garden. We were taking the plants, say, that bloom mainly during the summertime, and they bloom all season long. So that's what we were having to deal with and work with in designing this bed. When we tried to design it, we started out using the central part as a focus. So we wanted, say, a bright colored plant that was tall enough to where you could see that plant as a main attraction. And then moving out, we tried to progress that down using some other types that are near and around the central part, and moved outward from there. As you can see in the middle here, we use a salvia, which is a pink, I think, and that it grows, I think, from 2 feet to 4 feet, somewhere in that height range. And then we started moving out from there. On the edges, we use a salvia, kind of as a blanket effect, and then to outline the area, we used a Mont Blanc, which is a white, which really accents the border. We applied some of the fundamentals that they've taught us, as such as, you know, trying to provide a focal point and trying to give, say, a pyramidal effect in beds. And so in doing that, I mean, we try to apply this to the bed that we designed. It was very, very interesting in how we did it, using the computer as a design aid. Also, Scott Eccleston and I did the computer design on the computer itself, and then Tony Heiss did the research of the plants, telling what color, height, and other aspects of the plants. And then Scott Hunley and Jeff Suter did more of putting the names together, the scientific names, common names, price. I know they had a price list on there, so they did that aspect of it. We applied some of the fundamentals that they've taught us, as such as, you know, trying to provide a focal point and trying to give, say, a pyramidal effect in beds. And so in doing that, I mean, we try to apply this to the bed that we designed.
The name of our project is The Barn, and the reason it's The Barn is because of the location of where it's at. Is when you first drive up to the garden, this will be like the first garden that you see, and it is on the north side of the garden. We had to take into consideration that up close to the barn there's a lot of shaded area, and then on this one side it's the west side, so that gets a lot of sun, and then out towards the end of the garden, edge of the garden, it gets a lot of sun also. Along the edge, we chose alyssum because it's white and it blooms really well. And then we added in some pastels of salvia and some geraniums. And then in the back, since there's a little bit more shade, we added some chenille plants and also some copperleaf. And we use those. They don't really have very pretty flowers, but their texture and their foliage color is very nice. And over here we chose a castor bean to make it more balanced, and we thought that with the tropical leaves, that the tropical leaves kind of go well with pastels. And then also here we added in more periwinkle because it'll be in the sun all day long. Well, on our team we had Chris Everett and Andrea Ray, and they were in charge of getting all the research and the history of all the plants that we had chosen. And they wrote all the information about all the plants. Having to do this bed was kind of a challenge to me because I've done my own gardens, and we pick what we want to plant and then we design the bed. But this was really helpful to me because studying to be a landscape architect, we're going to be given existing beds and have to fill it in. And this was really challenging because we had to learn the plant size and its habitat maturity, And then we had to determine how many plants of everything that we wanted to be able to fit this whole bed.
Well, we've been very pleased with the assistance of the horticulture class in helping with some of our planting this year. And hopefully the students have achieved their goals by gaining experience in design, research, hands-on planting, not to mention how important and challenging it is to learn how to communicate as a group. And we've all learned about how to fit in our schedule with Mother Nature's. Now we want to thank Dr. Needham, Assistant Professor and teacher of the horticulture class, and the students once again, because they've helped us set the stage for some very important and exciting segments in the months to come, ones that you'll be privileged to as well.